Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video here on my channel with me, Steve. So for this video that I'm going to be doing, I haven't really done a video on StreamYard in a little bit. I thought I'd do one. It's just basically going to be a video that is going to be a prediction video. I was going to entitle this something else. I mean, I'm not good with editing videos and all that stuff. I'm trying, but what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing a prediction video of MLB The Show 23. Now, sooner or later, they're going to announce MLB The Show 23, probably for the same systems, PlayStation 4, if people still play that, that is, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, whatever, it's called now, and probably the Nintendo Switch again. But personally, I hope not. I don't own a Nintendo Switch. I think it should just be for PlayStation and Xbox. That's it. I don't think they really do Nintendo Wii anymore and all that stuff. I mean, but Nintendo Switch is the only one. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to make a prediction like for every MLB team, the American League and the National League, like what legend I think should be added to that team. There'll probably be like honorable mentions and stuff, but I'll just go with the one person I think, that should be added to that team. So we'll start in the American League and so on. So the first one is going as actually, let me move my cup out of the way. I mean, that's my Orioles cup, by the way, as you can see. Yeah, sorry about that. But anyway, and if anybody joins in, they can put their comments in there and say like who they think, they'll say like who they think will come in, join MLB The Show. But I doubt anybody's going to comment, but I'll just do it anyway. So anyway, here we go. So we're going to start with the American League. So the first one would be the Baltimore Orioles. So of course, they have so many Oriole legends that have been appearing. Now, we're not talking about flashbacks either, like flashback players and all that stuff, just legend players. Like players, played for the team, for a good while and stuff. Now, of course, you already have the people like Cal Ripken, Brooks Robinson, Eddie Murray, Jim Palmer. But the thing about Jim Palmer with MLB The Show 22 is we didn't get a 99 Jim Palmer. We only got like a 95 or 96. We got a 99 with Cal and Eddie and Brooks Robinson. But one person we still have not gotten yet is Frank Robinson. And I don't understand like why there still hasn't been a Frank Robinson yet. It would be a good opportunity, I think, for that. I mean, unfortunately, he passed, and he has played for the Cincinnati Reds, the Baltimore Orioles, and the Cleveland Indians at that time. I'm going to call it that, but now it's Cleveland Guardians, of course. I mean, if you want me to call it Guardians, sure, I'll do that. But yeah. But anyway, Frank Robinson, would be a good addition. But you had players like Boog Powell, but Boog Powell is not a Hall of Famer, but he had a pretty good career. Now, there's also another player that played for the Orioles for a pretty good while, and he hasn't even been in the game at all. He used to be in like in classic video games, but he has not been in MLB The Show, and that is Brady Anderson. Brady Anderson played for the Orioles from 1988 to 2001. He hit 50 home runs, a then Oriole record in 1996, which was broken by Chris Davis in 2013, which I think shouldn't have happened because of that all that money we spent on Davis, unfortunately. Then Mark Trumbo came in. He had 47 home runs. Now, Mark Trumbo hasn't been in the game, I think, since MLB 20, I want to say. I don't think he was in 21. He might have been, but I forgot. And of course, there's others that have played for the Orioles. I just can't, name a lot. But one of them that was added last year, last year in 22 was Mike Mussina, and there were two cards. One of him on the Yankees for collecting all the American League East players, and one for the Orioles in the Takashi thing. That he was actually a battle royale reward, and I think personally he was a very good card to use. And I got him to parallel 5 along with his other card too. Another person they added to the game was Randy Johnson. Everybody had probably been waiting for him since MLB The Show 16 and 17. But yeah, we're not talking about other players that did not play for the Orioles, but they were players played against the Orioles many times. But anyway, it would have to be Frank Robinson, like I said. But again, there's other people that played for him too. But there's also pitchers too. We can't really forget a lot of them. But the Orioles' share of pitchers, the only ones they've had is, of course, Mike Mussina and Jim Palmer, and that's about it. So that's pretty much it. So I would have to stick with Frank Robinson. But it would be nice to see a flashback Nick Markakis come in and stuff, and Adam Jones return. That would be also really good too. But yeah, let's move on. The next one is the Boston Red Sox. Now, going back to MLB The Show 16, now that's when I was starting out playing Diamond Dynasty. One of my friends got me into it. And one of the legends they had in there, and they have not had this person, I think, since MLB The Show 19, I want to say. I believe it was. Or it might have been 20, I don't know. And that person is Ted Williams. Ted Williams, who played many, many seasons with the Red Sox, has not returned ever since. One person I would like to see is Nomar Garcia-Parra. Now, everybody keeps naming people like Manny Ramirez and Barry Bonds. Well, for one reason, they're not going to be in the games because of what they did. And you know why. All the things that came up. That's why that they won't be in the game. Simple as that. Stop commenting and saying, oh, they need to be in the game. It's not fair. They're not in the game. You know the reason why they're not in the game. So, cool it. So anyway, Ted Williams, I think, would be a great addition, to come back to MLB The Show, but just may not happen. Carl Yastrzemski is another option, and Carlton Fisk. Carlton Fisk, I believe, was in MLB The Show 16. Now, my favorite personally was MLB The Show 17. I love Diamond Dynasty. I love the players that they had, especially that 99 hardware Cal Ripken Jr. that I used for many times on there. That was one of my favorites. And they also had that 99 Jackie Robinson, which is good. That was part of the hardware program or something like that. But the stupidest thing about that was at the end of it, the last reward or something was a 99 Pepe Alazar. And I think personally that was a waste because you had to do stats with Joe Random and then you had to get Pepe Alazar after you finished that, and he had like maxed out everything: contact, power, vision, fielding, speed, everything. Everything was 125 or whatever, or maxed out, and his speed was 99, fielding 99 above, and all that stuff. Well, MLB The Show 17, the ratings only went up to like 100 or something. They didn't go up to like 125 until we got to MLB The Show 18, which, by the way, is the worst MLB. I know it has its fan base, but I'm not one of them because MLB The Show 18 was horrible. And the one reason, well, there was a couple of reasons. The Immortals and all the stuff you had to do, like exchange the jerseys and bobbleheads and all that crap, that was the worst. I hated playing it. Like, I'd play it so many times on my channel, I would get frustrated. I'd like throw a good pitch on the inside, and they hit it for a 450-foot home run or whatever, and I'm like, this is bullshit. Excuse my language, but I know there's a lot of people that can agree with me with that. But they made it better when they did MLB The Show 19 and 20, and 21 was all right, and 22 was good. It wasn't better, I think, than 20. But anyway, let's continue. So again, I have it down to 3 people. Ted Williams, Carl Yastrzemski, or actually, well, yes, he would be a good addition. Nomar Garcia-Parra is also an option, and Carlton Fisk. But out of them, I'd probably say Ted Williams because of the fact that he hasn't been in the show for a good while. But anyway, Ted Williams. Now the New York Yankees. So in this one, they had a bunch of them, like always. Babe Ruth returned. He came in MLB The Show 18, which is one of the biggest announcements, and everybody flipped out about that. But still, the game was not great. Then you had Mickey Mantle that came in MLB The Show 20. He was the reward for collecting, all the teams. And Reggie Jackson, I think, was added in MLB The Show 16. I think they had Diamond Dynasty in MLB The Show 15. They did, and I don't know about 14. They might have, but I think it was 15. And I didn't really play Diamond Dynasty at all. I did Road to the Show. MLB The Show 16, like when people, started playing that a lot. But anyway, yeah, for MLB, for the New York Yankees, now I know people will probably say Roger Clemens as well, but again, I'm not going to argue again and say, the reason why he won't be in the game. Excuse me. They added Mariano Rivera in the year of 2020, I want to say. I don't think it was 2019. I don't think it was MLB The Show 19. I think it was 20 when they added Mariano Rivera and I believe David Ortiz for the first time ever, and people flipped out about that. They were like, this is awesome. But one thing about MLB The Show 21, the collection thing. For MLB The Show 21, the collection was a 99 MVP Chipper Jones. And then they introduced the parallels when you get your player to parallel 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And parallel 5 is like the best one. And like the stats, all that, just a thing, I'm just. But in MLB The Show 19, they had, or MLB The Show 20, they had the prestige ones. And that was when you get like your stats up with the player and stuff and get like the stats, up a lot, with the prestige, which I thought was pretty cool. But anyway, focusing on the Yankees, it would have to be Derek Jeter. Derek Jeter has not been in MLB The Show at all. Never. I know it's crazy. I mean, they got people like Robinson Cano, Jason Giambi. They haven't even released Hideki Matsui, which is kind of crazy. I mean, Hideki Matsui be an option, but I got to stick with Derek Jeter. I know people would also probably say Alex Rodriguez. Well, same thing. Jorge Posada's still in the game, and Curtis Granderson, a flashback. Don Mattingly was in it. I think he was added, I think last year, or I don't know. I don't know about. Actually, I think he was added in 21. I don't think he was in 20. I don't really remember. I'd have to look it up, on my thing here on my game, and it would show me and stuff. But I'm gonna stick with Derek Jeter once again. Next one is the Tampa Bay Rays. This one's a tough one. I mean, they don't have like a whole lot of legends, but they have players. Well, this guy is considered like a Tampa Bay Rays or Devil Rays legend, even though he's not in the Hall of Fame and stuff. But his name is Carl Crawford. Carl Crawford played a lot of good seasons with Tampa Bay. I think he went to the playoffs with them in 2011, or no, he wasn't with them. He was with Boston. Yeah, he was with Tampa Bay for a good while. Actually, he went to the World Series with them, I think, in 2000. Oh, God, was it 8? Yeah, it was 2008, the Phillies and the Rays. And the Phillies, of course, won. Then Carl Crawford went to Boston and the Dodgers, I think another team, but he had a lot of really good seasons. He was hitting, I think he hit over 200 hits a couple of times and a bunch of others, but he would definitely be one. Ben Zobrist, well, he was with them for a good while. Then he went to the Cubs, and he had a really, really good card in MLB The Show 17, I believe it was, and I think 18 and 19, that all-star one that they had. That one was really good to use. Yeah, I think it was 18 and 19. But I can't really remember exactly. Again, I haven't played those games in a while. But anywho, Scott Kazmir, I know they had flashbacks of, and David Price they still do. Evan Longoria too, but they have flashbacks of him. But it would have to be Carl Crawford. I would have to say him. The next one, the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, one of them they added to the game that everybody was happy about, Carlos Delgado. For the first time ever, Carlos Delgado played a good amount of seasons for the Toronto Blue Jays, then went to the Marlins and the Mets. I think another team, I don't know. But it's kind of crazy that Carlos Delgado is not in the Hall of Fame, though. I mean, he had a great career, and he never got in trouble as far as I know. I'm just looking up Carlos Delgado's stats, and it'll tell me he is a 280 career hitter, 2,038 career hits, and 473 career home runs. Okay, so I guess the hits are a little bit low, but the average is great. And the home runs are great, too. He's close to 500. And, of course, Fred McGriff is going to be elected to the Hall of Fame, which is amazing. He was overdue. Now, of course, he has more hits than Delgado and more home runs and a higher average, so that's probably the reason why he's in. And, of course, people are complaining about that. I'm like, Fred McGriff is a 284 hitter with 2,490 hits and 493 career home runs. 5-time All-Star, according to here, with the Padres, the Braves, and in 2000 with the Devil Rays. Okay. 2-time home run leader, World Series champion, 95 with the Braves, and a 3-time Silver Slugger Award winner. But Fred McGriff has not been in the game, as a matter of fact. I mean, but even though he did play for the Toronto Blue Jays in the beginning of his career, but he played also for the Padres, the Braves, the Dodgers it showed on there, and the Devil Rays. I mean, there's a lot of teams on there. But yeah, Fred McGriff would be an option, for them. But I think people would probably say Jose Bautista. And I 100% disagree. I was never a fan of Jose Bautista. The reason is because the way he was a dirty player. I'm sorry, because ever since that thing with Rougned Odor when he got punched in the face from Rougned for what he did, I mean, it was a dirty slide, and he was a dirty player. Like when he hit a home run, he was terrible against the Orioles. The Orioles, oh my God, I hated every time we played them. And ugh, I'm sorry. I mean, but I would not say Jose Bautista. John Olerud is an option. I think he was in MLB The Show 20, and I think he was in 21. Paul Molitor as well. I mean, Paul Molitor actually was in the game this year, but we didn't get no 99 Paul Molitor. We did not. So I don't know about this. I mean, and we did get Roy Halladay, which is amazing. And we got a couple of them. We got a postseason one from the Phillies, a couple of him from the Blue Jays, and a perfect game one from the Philadelphia Phillies. So, yeah, he's already added. B.J. Ryan, who was a closer for them, but he was with them after he was with the Orioles. But, I mean, personally, I'm leaning toward John Olerud, but I don't know if people would agree with that. I'm trying to think, like, who else, like, played for them. There was a good amount of them. I mean, Joe Carter, well, he's already been in the game, but I'm just mad to stay at John Olerud. That's pretty much what I'm leaning towards. I know people are probably going to disagree and say, I think Jose Bautista is a better option. Yeah, maybe, but I'm not going to say that. Anyway, John Olerud, I'd say. Next, the Chicago White Sox. So, of course, they have a good amount, too, like Frank Thomas and Paul Konerko. Ray Durham, who was added to the game. I don't know if he was in the last year one again. I think he was not. But for this one, anybody that probably doesn't remember this pitcher, his name is Jack McDowell. He was a pitcher that was pretty dominant, like in the early 90s. Then he went to the New York Yankees and then the Indians, I think, at that time. Jim Thome played a little bit with them, but Carlton Fisk also did too. And again, Carlton Fisk hasn't really been in the game. Mark Burley, who was a really good pitcher for them. A person has been doing, videos on this, doing the all-time team builds. You know who I'm talking about. I'm not going to mention the name, but he was saying, like, what person, should be added to the game and all that stuff. And, a lot of people, comment on his video and they say. But anyway, I mean, that's a tough one, though. I mean, there really is for the White Sox because they got pretty much a good amount of legends. I don't really think I can think of one. I mean, some of them, we might have to go back to old school. Like, I don't know. That person didn't play for them. I mean, I'm thinking of like old school players. They do have some, they're in the game. Yeah, but personally, I'm thinking about the White Sox. Like, who exactly? I mean, Bobby Jenks, who was a pretty good closer for them, and Mark Burley, like I said about him. I don't know. Well, another one, actually, I'm going to say Maglio Ordonez, because Maglio Ordonez had some pretty good seasons with the White Sox. Then he went to the Tigers for a good amount of years. And Carlos Lee is another option too, but I think I'm going to stick with Maglio Ordonez. Next one, the Cleveland Guardians. Or the other way. Well, Guardians is what they're known as now. So, of course, they have a bunch now, like Jim Thome, who's in there. I don't think Omar Vizquel was here. We had Kenny Lofton, but we did not get a 99 Kenny Lofton for some odd reason, and we should have. We also had Roberto Alomar here. He was a Battle Royale reward, I think, in MLB The Show 20, I want to say, and he was a lot, again, he was like 1 million subs, and he was a great addition, but ever since that, he has not been in MLB The Show ever since, for some reason. I don't know the exact reason, but yeah, he, it would be nice to see him in the game again, but I think a lot of people do not want him back in the game. It's not because of the spitting incident that happened, and by the way, people need to forget about that. That happened in 1996. He and John Hirschbeck made up, and nobody needs to keep talking about that over and over again. It's over, done with. Um, Albert Bell, who was in MLB The Show 18, he was like a career arc. And ever since that, he never came back. And probably for good reason, because a lot of people did not like him. And yeah, understandable too, because he really was a jerk. He was. I mean, a lot of people really did not like him. So I definitely scratch him off. Um, I don't know. I mean, again, CC Sabathia, I think, would be an option because he hasn't been in MLB The Show since 2019, I believe. So, yeah, it would probably be him either. Yeah, probably CC Sabathia. We do have Cliff Lee in the game, but he's with the Phillies, like on this one. Or no, he is on Cleveland, I think. Yeah, but it would probably have to be CC Sabathia. The next one is the Detroit Tigers. Now, as I mentioned about old school players, so for this one for the Tigers, this would be fitting. I would have to say Ty Cobb. Ty Cobb has not been in the show since MLB The Show 20. I don't know why. Again, I mean, they cut so many players and got rid of them. I'm like, okay, that's a little ridiculous right there. I don't know why, but without a doubt, it had to be Ty Cobb. I don't know any others because I would do like some honorable mentions, as I said, but I definitely think it would have to be Ty Cobb for sure. Alan Trammell is still in the game as far as I know. Lou Whitaker, who was a pretty good player, a teammate of his, and Mickey Tettleton is an option. Now, he, of course, started with the Oakland Athletics, then he went to the Orioles in 88, 89, and 90. Then he went to the Tigers from 91 to 95, I want to say, or 94. And then he went to the Texas Rangers. I think it was 91 to 93. I don't really know. But Mickey Tettleton definitely would be a nice one because he was a switch hitter, and that would be something really nice. But I think Ty Cobb would be the better choice. And Jack Morris, of course, pitcher, he would too. But again, Ty Cobb. Sorry to repeat again. The Kansas City Royals. Now, I've been watching a lot of videos on YouTube, and I've been seeing people like putting like custom cards on there and stuff. And one of them they put up was Bo Jackson. And Bo Jackson was a player who also was a football player for the Raiders. And everybody remembers the All-Star game in 89 when he led off with a home run and Wade Boggs hit one too. But yeah, everybody keeps saying Bo Jackson would be a great addition. I mean, personally, I would have to say yes and no. No, because of the fact that he didn't play long with Kansas City, and then he went to Chicago as well. And they do consider him a legend. I mean, personally, I don't really know. It's tough to say. I guess, but we already have George Brett. Danny Tartable played many seasons for them, but I would probably say Carlos Beltran because Carlos Beltran has not been in MLB The Show since MLB The Show, I want to say 18. I don't think it was 17. Well, he was in 17, but I don't think he was in MLB The Show. I think he was in 18. I really don't know, but they had this really, really good card. Sorry, just looking at something on here. Another one as well is Johnny Damon, but I think Carlos Beltran just be the other option. Billy Butler is one too, and Mike Sweeney. Mike Sweeney, I don't think has ever been in MLB The Show, but that would be something. But Carlos Beltran, the Minnesota Twins. I'm going to get this really quickly out of the way because I think this makes sense. Kirby Puckett. Kirby Puckett was in MLB The Show 21, but we never got a 99. And he is not in MLB The Show 22, as far as I know, unless they'll still release some cards. But we still haven't gotten a 99 Kirby Puckett. I mean, it undoubtedly needs to be Kirby Puckett. Honorable mention Chuck Knobloch, maybe Gary Gaetti and Ken Herbeck and Rick Aguilera, but Kirby Puckett makes a lot more sense. I think a lot of people can agree with that. All right, the Houston Astros. One of them I've been hearing people talk about, Lance Berkman. I agree with that. Lance Berkman, I believe, was a switch hitter and a great outfielder. Craig Biggio and Jeff Bagwell, they're already in the game. This would pretty much be the big three, if they added him. But Roy Oswald, he's already in the game. Brad Lidge is another option, a great closer for the Astros and also for the Phillies. But I had to stick definitely with Lance Berkman. The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Oh man, this is tough actually. I mean, Chuck Finley was a great pitcher for them. He also pitched for Cleveland as well. Of course, you still got Mike Trout there and Shohei Ohtani, but I mean, like players that played for them for a good season or a good amount. Wally Joyner played a good amount of seasons too. Chili Davis, Jim Edmonds, he's already in the game, but he's like a flashback for the Cardinals. Albert Pujols, he spent some time with the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, but he's spent a lot of seasons, of course, with St. Louis. I don't know. This is a tough one, for this team because of the fact that I mentioned a lot of names on there. Troy Gloss was added, and Tim Salmon was too. Garrett Anderson, a lot of players, from the 90s. Been watching like those classic baseball games, like Orioles baseball from the 90s and a few others. But yeah, this is a difficult one. I mean, I don't know, like for pitchers either. I mean, Mark Langston is a pretty good pitcher, and Bartolo Colon. I mean, maybe it would have to be him, because he's pitched a good amount for them, and I thought he won the Cy Young with them. Yeah, probably Bartolo Colon. I don't know. I mean, this is really tough. Yeah, I probably just have to go with him. I mean, I don't know any other options. Troy Percival is in the game too. I mean, I don't know, but I know I mentioned Wally Joyner, but maybe him as well too. I don't know. We'll just leave it as that. The Oakland Athletics. I know what people are going to say. They're going to say two names that are going to come up, and I know who they are. Mark McGwire and Jose Canseco. And that ain't going to happen. You know why. I'm not going to say anymore. Yeah, they called them the Bash Brothers many times in baseball, but Dave Stewart and Bob Welch, who were pretty good pitchers for them. You do have Dennis Eckersley. Jason Giambi also in the game as well, too. Also spent time with the Yankees and the Rockies, and then returned to the Athletics and with Cleveland, the Guardians. Raleigh Fingers is in the game, and Catfish Hunter is as well, too, and Reggie Jackson. So you got all them names covered. Ricky Henderson also in the game. Carney Lansford, who played a good amount of seasons with Oakland, who was a third baseman. Mike Bordick as well. He also was an Oriole after Oakland. But Dave Henderson is also an option. Dave Parker, I believe, is in the game. But yeah, there's a bunch. I mean, again, but I know everybody, would go with the names I mentioned earlier once again, but rest in peace, Dave Henderson. Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of like any others. I mean, but actually, hold that thought. There's now I'm going to think like the later years, like Tim Hudson, Mark Mulder, and Barry Zito. Those three pitchers that they had. I mean, that's another option as well. Miguel Tejada is also one too, but I believe he got caught like in some scandal. But or something like that. Eric Chavez is another option, a great third baseman for them. Probably have to go with him and maybe their pitchers, as I mentioned, Tim Hudson, Mark Mulder, and Barry Zito. That'd be pretty cool. The Seattle Mariners, this is a no-brainer. Ichiro Suzuki. Ichiro hasn't been in MLB The Show since MLB The Show 19, I think. I don't think he was in 20. I know he wasn't in 21 in this year. And he should be. I mean, you got Griffey, Buhner, Edgar Martinez. There was no flashback Felix Hernandez, though, which was very, very interesting. But Ichiro Suzuki would definitely have to be him. The Texas Rangers. Now, I forgot to mention this guy because he played for the Orioles as well. and that's Rafael Palmeiro. Now, unfortunately, Palmeiro, with the whole thing that happened too, I mean, even though I was a really, really big fan of him, but I don't know, the whole thing that happened with him is just something I don't really think about. Kenny Rogers, it was a good pitcher for them. Well, he was a good pitcher, but he had an attitude. I remember one time a cameraman had a camera and he pushed it out of the way and stuff, and I lost a lot of respect for him when he did that. Who else? You have Ivan Rodriguez. Alfonso Soriano's still in the game. Michael Young is. Hank Blaylock is an option. Josh Hamilton is an option as well, too, but I think he got into some trouble. I believe he did. And Nelson Cruz, I think they have a flashback of him, though. A few of them, one with the Rangers and one with the Mariners. But for the pitchers as well, I mean, that's not really a lot. Aaron Seeley and Rick Helling, I mean, that's the only names coming to mind. But I think a lot of people would say Josh Hamilton and maybe Ian Kinsler. Ian Kinsler was pretty good. But Buddy Bell, might have to go with him. A lot of people, really liked him. He had a card in MLB The Show 18. And I don't think he did 19. But anyway, so we're done with the American League. Now we can go to the National League. All right. The Atlanta Braves. Well, we got what we wanted in MLB The Show 21, which was Hank Aaron, something we were waiting for, for a while, ever since MLB The Show 16, I think. But for this one, another option was Kevin Millwood, I think, for Texas, but I don't think that would happen. I don't think so. But anyway, for the Braves, we had Joe Torre, but Dale Murphy, I think everybody wanted, to return, but he hasn't returned. So, yeah, I think that would be a good choice. I would have to say Dale Murphy. The Miami Marlins, or formerly known as the Florida Marlins. How about Jeff Conine? He was a very underrated player, in my opinion. He could play first base, left field, a bunch of others. I think personally, that would probably be a pretty good choice. But you got Mike Lowell, Luis Castillo, Juan Pierre, but he is in the game, and Juan Encarnacion, Cliff Floyd. I don't think Cliff Floyd is. I think he was in the last year one, and Preston Wilson, I think, also. But there's a lot of options. And you got Josh Beckett at pitcher and AJ Burnett, but Burnett's in the game. Yeah, there's a lot of names to mention there, but I'd probably say Mike Lowell. I think that would actually be a pretty good choice because of the fact that he was actually pretty good. He also played for Boston. But yeah, I would probably say him. The New York Mets. I don't know about this, but the first name that came to mind was Dwight Gooden. Yeah, because he had a bunch of good seasons with them, and then he pitched for the Yankees, and I think he returned to the Mets. I don't know, but I'd have to say David Wright because everybody, wants David Wright to return. Jose Reyes is an option too. He was in MLB The Show 19. David Wright hasn't been MLB The Show since MLB 17, I want to say. He was supposed to be in this year for MLB The Show. He was supposed to be, but he was not because of the fact that they were talking about the cover athletes from over the years. They had MLB 06 The Show, which was David Ortiz, and he was in the game. MLB 07 The Show, which was David Wright, but for some reason he was not in the game. MLB 08 The Show, which was Ryan Howard in the game. MLB 09 Dustin Pedroia, he was not in the game. That's another person I forgot to mention, the Boston Red Sox one, Dustin Pedroia, but I'm sticking with Ted Williams still. MLB 10 and 11, Joe Mauer, who was in the game, and he returned after being away from MLB The Show since MLB The Show 17, I think. Yeah. Or was it 16? I think it was 16, actually. I don't think he was in 17. I can't remember. But, yeah. David Wright, definitely for the Mets. The Philadelphia Phillies. Now, of course, we had the big names, Ryan Howard, Chase Utley, and Jimmy Rollins. And also, of course, Roy Halladay and Shane Victorino. A lot of names on there that were added. And of course, Mike Schmidt over there too. Like, if you want to say the all-time Philadelphia Phillies and stuff, the catcher would have to be Carlos Ruiz, but I don't think I would go with him. I mean, I don't know. Jamie Moyer pitched a little bit with them. I don't know if people really would want that. I have to think this over a little bit about the Philadelphia Phillies, because there's a good amount of them. Richie Ashburn, I think, was added. Billy Wagner, he's in the game. Bobby Abreu. Bobby Abreu would be a great addition because he'd be in right field, along with Shane Victorino and the rest of them if you want to do the all-time Philadelphia Phillies, and there you go. But, yeah, definitely Bobby Abreu. I forgot all about him. The Washington Nationals, or the Montreal Expos. Ryan Zimmerman was in the game in MLB The Show 21 last year, but he wasn't in this year. Very surprising. Jose Vidro played a good amount of seasons for them. Brad Wilkerson, I think, played for them as well. And Vladimir Guerrero, but they had a couple of cards of him. One with the Expos and one with the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Andre Dawson was in it. Of course, he was an Expo at that time. But for this one, Levon Hernandez, who pitched for them, would be an option. I think he was with the Expos and the Nationals. I believe so. Jose Guillen, he's an option, but I think Ryan Zimmerman maybe. I think it would be a good idea for him to return to it. The Chicago Cubs. Here's another one where people are going to say Sammy Sosa. And, won't happen. To me, for the Chicago Cubs, they added Kerry Wood to this game, which is pretty awesome. And Ryan Dempster is an option. He was a starter and a closer, but I don't think it would be him. Derek Lee, I think, would be a better option. He was a pretty good first baseman. Also played for a few other teams, including the Orioles in 2011. He was also a Florida Marlin, or a Miami Marlin, any way you want to call it. Corey Patterson was also a pretty good player. Ryan Sandberg's in the game. Ron Santo was added to the game. Rest in peace. A guy that never has been in MLB The Show, as far as I know. David Ross, who's a pretty good catcher, and Alfonso Soriano's in the game. Mark Pryor was added, a new pitcher. John Lieber was a pretty good pitcher. Bruce Suter's in the game. Yeah, there's a bunch of them, but Mark Grace is another option, good first baseman. But I think Derek Lee would probably be a good addition. I'll stick with that. The Cincinnati Reds, well, here we go again. Well, I don't know about this, but I really think it should be Pete Rose. And I know this is another one, where they're probably going to say, well, if you go with Pete Rose, then you should go with the other people you mentioned, like Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire, and Jose Canseco. Well, the thing is, he never did steroids, Pete Rose, but he did the gambling thing, of course. That's also one of the reasons why he isn't in the Hall of Fame, but he needs to. But yes, he is an option. But if I had to choose a second option, personally in this one, Barry Larkin's already in it. We got a flashback Ken Griffey Jr. When he was with the Reds, and we got Adam Dunn. I saw Ryan Friel, rest in peace. Yeah. Keep thinking of Julio Lugo, rest in peace, but he never played for the Reds as far as I know. Jay Bruce and Scott Rowland. Didn't he play for Cincinnati for a little bit? But I think he was more of a Phillies person. Or no, Scott Rowland did play for them, but I have to say that Scott Rowland, underrated player in my opinion. I think that would be a good option. Completely forgot all about him. The Milwaukee Brewers. BJ Surhoff, when he played, for them, I forgot to mention him, for the Orioles, because he would be a great addition. He had a really great swing and another underrated player. But if we're talking about the Brewers, I'm going to go with Ben Sheets. Ben Sheets was a dominant pitcher, for the Brewers. And unfortunately, he had a bunch of injuries. And after that, he pitched for Oakland, I think, for a little bit, and the Braves. And I think he just wound up retiring. But he would be a nice addition. Jeff Jenkins is one. I think Jeremy Burnett's played for them. I think he did. Ryan Braun, who was in the game, but he no longer is. But I think for a few reasons. But I'm going to stick with Ben Sheets. The Pittsburgh Pirates. Well, we had Jason Bay that was added, which I think was a good addition. And of course, Honus Wagner, Ralph Kiner, Roberto Clemente, a lot of legendary players there. Willie Stargell. I think there's a few others too. I mean, I'm just not thinking of them right away, but they had a flashback. Andrew McCutchen, of course, and I don't know who else. I mean, there are so many options though, but I can't remember that guy that had that pitch delivery. I think it was like Ken Turkaloo or whatever it was, but I don't think people would agree with that. I mean, I don't think really. I mean, it was Kent something. Okay, here it is. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, this guy, he was like a closer, I think, for the Pirates from 74 to 85, then the Phillies 85 to 88, and the Cincinnati Reds 1988. All-Star in 1980 and a World Series champion 1979. I think that's when they beat the Orioles, unfortunately, but it's fine. Yep, 4 games to 3. But anyway, here it is. Here's his name, Kent Tacklevy. Or Teckelvy, something like that. But sorry about that. But anyway, yeah, Kent Tacklevy, whatever the name is pronounced and stuff. I mean, it's something like that. But yeah, that is an option as well too. But I'm still trying to think exactly just like who it would be and stuff for the Pirates. And I'm just, Freddie Sanchez, and I remember that name. He was an all-star back in the 2006 All-Star game, I believe, in Pittsburgh. Pedro Alvarez, they had a card of him in MLB The Show 18. I think a lot of people liked. But the pitchers, I can't really remember. Like Chris Benson, I think pitched for them. Garrett Cole, of course. That's a tough one though. And Joe Hanrahan, who was a great closer. Jason Kendall, well, he's in the game. He started with the Pirates, and he went to Oakland and I think somebody else. But this is tough for the Pirates, actually. This really is. I cannot think of any. I know people are probably like naming names and stuff, but I just can't think of any. Oh, man. I'm going to take a shot at this. I'm really going to have to take a shot. And I'm just going to have to. Dick Stewart was a player back in the 50s, like who played for the Pirates, and he was on a TV show called Home Run Derby. Rest in peace, Mark Scott and umpire Art Passarella. But he's an option as well. But I don't know. I mean, I'm just got to. I'm really not sure. I mean, maybe him or somebody else that played for the Pirates, like in that time. I just can't remember the names now. I really cannot, unfortunately. Man. Yeah, I don't know personally like who it would be for the Pirates. I mean, this one's taking a while, unfortunately. I'm sorry. But yeah, I can't really. Well, I'll just have to go with Doug Drabeck, because he was a pretty good pitcher for the Pirates. I forgot all about him. The St. Louis Cardinals. Now, here's another one where people probably say Mark McGwire, but I don't think so. Darryl Kyle, rest in peace. Pitched for them for a good while, and Ray Lankford, who's a pretty good player. Bobby Bonilla spent some time with them. J.D. Drew is an option because he was a pretty good player. And, of course, Scott Rowland also played for the Cardinals as well. But I said, for the Reds, and I think he played for the Phillies. I can't remember. I'm sorry. I'm going to look up Scott Rowland, real quick, and they'll show me, because I'm pretty sure he played for the Reds. I'm sorry. He did 2009 and 2012. He did, and of course, the Phillies 96 to 2002, the Cardinals 2002 to 2007, the Blue Jays 2008 to 2009, and the Reds 2009 2012. He was an all-star a couple of times at Cincinnati, so there you go. Yeah, like I said, underrated player. I really think so. People may disagree, but I mean, but Scott Rowland, is another option for St. Louis, but I'd have to probably say Rafael Furcal. I think that would be a pretty good option. Or maybe Matt Holliday, because he hasn't been in the game for a while. He has a son named Jackson Holliday, who was drafted by the Baltimore Orioles, of course. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to probably go with my first answer. And that was Rafael Furcal. Yeah. So I may disagree, but yeah. The National League West now, we're up to a few more. The Arizona Diamondbacks. Curt Schilling. Curt Schilling, I remember using him in MLB 09 to show, and they never released a flashback of him. They never did. For some reason. I mean, probably for a few reasons, but Curt Schilling, we haven't, seen him in a while. I mean, it would be a nice option though, for him in the game, but I don't think personally it would be him. Steve Finley is already in the game. Tony Clark, I think, spent some time with him, but he also was a Tiger. But my pick was Ty Cobb for the Tigers. But the Diamondbacks, I mean, it's a little bit difficult. Like I said, I just think personally that the first name that comes to my mind again is Curt Schilling, but I don't think like who else. Justin Upton, who's in the game, but I think he is in the game. I don't know if they released. I think they released a flashback. I can't remember. I mean, I'm really not too sure. Mark Reynolds is an option. I mean, it may have to be him, because Mark Reynolds had a really, really good swing. Probably will go with him. The Colorado Rockies. Troy Tulowitzki is the first name coming to mind because he was a great shortstop, for them. Then he went to the Blue Jays. And Ubaldo Jimenez, another option as well. Daniel Murphy is another one too. Ellis Burks, Andres Galarraga. A lot of names there, played for the Rockies. Vinny Castilla, but he is in the game. Todd Helton is in the game. And that's pretty much it. I mean, if I had to choose, a lot of them, I'd probably go with Troy Tulowitzki. Would be nice to see him come back. 3 teams left. The Los Angeles Dodgers. Gil Hodges. Gil Hodges would be a nice addition. He finally got inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame, which is long, long overdue. Rest in peace, Gil Hodges, but he was just long overdue. But yeah, definitely him. That took no time at all. The San Diego Padres. Jake Peavy would be a good option because he was a pretty good pitcher. But Ken Caminiti, rest in peace, played a good amount of seasons with them. Dave Winfield did. Ozzie Smith, I think, did for a little bit. Yeah, I think Dave Winfield played, I don't know exactly how long, but here I go again. Sorry, I'm just looking like how long, he was with them. I don't think it was like too long, maybe. I'm just looking. The San Diego Padres, 73 to 80. Okay, well, I messed up on that. But yeah, I mean, actually, Dave Winfield, I think, would be a good option. I'm going to leave it at that and put Dave Winfield for the Padres instead of Jake Peavy. I think that would be a good choice. And, yep, that's pretty much it. All right, now the last team, the San Francisco Giants. And I know everybody's going to say Barry Bonds. Nope. No, I don't. It's not going to happen. I mean, but we have a lot of the players on there that are named, but one of them that's not in the game and hasn't been here since last year, I think, of 21, or it might have been 20. I don't really remember. Buster Posey. I think personally, it should be him, and that's it. I'm going to wrap that up. That's all the things I mentioned there. Sorry, to a lot of people, for, that probably, won't agree with me on some of them, but that's why it's a prediction. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Not a bad thing, a good thing. You all take care. Thanks again for watching.